Hi, my name's Michelle and I'm going to show you how you can make money flipping furniture. Now it's a great side hustle and today we've got this mid-century modern dresser that I picked up from a thrift store for $28.50. I'm going to show you how I transform it to sell it for a whole lot more on Facebook Marketplace. Now stick around to the end where I'll go through the numbers and tell you how much profit I made, and I'll share with you my one tip that allows me to charge more for my pieces on Facebook Marketplace.
My first job was to clean this sucker up because it was dirty. First I went in with some Dawn dish soap to scrub away any grease stains or muck that had built up over the years. And then I went back in with just some clean hot water to get any soapy residue off. You never know what you're going to find in your drawers. So once I finished my treasure hunting, I took out the liners and I took off all the hardware and kept it in a bucket with the screws in one place. I like to mark all my drawers so I know exactly where they go back. TL stands for top left, if you're wondering. Once the drawers were out, I gave it a good old vacuum. I used Minwax stainable wood filler to fill any scratches on the drawers. I sanded the base down to bare wood with my Surf Prep sander. The hardware appeared to be solid brass, but it needed a good clean. So I used some Clorox scrub singles and some Barkeeper's Front to polish those up and make them look beautiful again. Here's how the handles were looking once they were cleaned up. Here's a bit of a side-by-side comparison. Here the top half has been cleaned and the bottom half I've yet to clean. I used Minwax gel stain in walnut on the drawers, and basically you put it on, leave it on for 3 minutes, and then you wipe it back off. I also went over these in a top coat of Minwax's polyacrylic in the satin finish. There were a lot of scratches on the top of this dresser, so I filled them all in with wood filler, and then it was time to go in and sand them down. I also gave the rest of the body of the dresser a scuff sand, which is just a really light sand with fine grit sandpaper to give the paint something to adhere to. Once I'd sanded everything down, I gave it a wipe down with a clean microfiber cloth just to get any of those dust particles off the dresser to make it ready for painting. Taped off the base of the dresser just to make sure it didn't get any paint on it. I always like to check the flow of the paint coming out of my spray gun on a piece of cardboard first, just to make sure the right amount is coming out, not too much and not too little. I ended up doing a total of 2 coats of paint all over the dresser. I had a bit of a problem on the top of the dresser in that the paint was looking different where it was on top of the wood filler and whereas it was on the normal part of the dresser. And sometimes this happens, and if I had have used a primer before I painted, it would have basically blocked this effect. I didn't use a primer because my paint had one built in, but it was more for adhesion purposes as opposed to stain blocking purposes. So after I'd done my 2 coats of paint, I realized that I needed to fix this. So I put a coat of Zinsser's Bullseye Shellac on top of the dresser, and basically what this did, it sealed it and gave it a uniform surface for the paint to go on top of. So I did one more coat of paint over the top of the shellac on the top of the dresser, and this fixed the problem. After I'd peeled off the tape protecting the base, I did put a piece of tape to protect the painted part of the dresser from getting any stain on it, and I chose to stain the base in Minwax's gel stain in walnut. I did one coat of this and left it to dry for 24 hours, and when it came back I felt like the stain hadn't taken that well and needed to be a little bit darker and richer. So I actually went over it again with Minwax's gel stain in mahogany, just to hopefully give it a little bit more richness and a little bit more of a red tone to match the drawers. And it worked better this way. Still wasn't perfect, but it did look much better. Once the top coat on the drawers was dry, it was time to put the hardware back on. The wood inside the drawers was a little bit dry, so I went in with Dixie Belle's Big Mama's Butter in the flannel scent. And what this does is rehydrates the wood and gives it a beautiful smell.
At the start of this video, I mentioned one tip that allows me to charge more for my pieces on Facebook Marketplace. So here it is. Take good photos of your items and lightly stage them. So let me show you briefly how I do this with my pieces. So step 1, have good lighting. Now this doesn't mean having an amazing light setup. I usually take most of my pictures outside and just use the natural light, and cloudy days are the best for this. Step 2, have a simple background that allows your piece to pop. So for me, I just use my white garage doors, and then I put down an 8-foot by 4-foot board that looks like grey floorboards that I got from my local home improvement store. You could also put down a rug though, and that would allow you to easily roll it up when you're not using it. Step 3, lightly stage your item. This allows people to imagine what it would look like in their own house. And all I do when I stage my items, I usually put in a plant, maybe some books, a light decoration or two, and a print. Step 4, take photos of your item from all different angles. People want to know what it is that they're getting. So while I have my staged photo, and that's usually my first photo that I put in all of my listings, I also take pictures of the piece without it being staged, from the front, the sides, the top, and I also take pictures of any special or cool features. For example, the dovetail joins on these drawers and the cool brass handles. So that's my hack for being able to sell your pieces for more and also more quickly on Facebook Marketplace. Make sure you take good photos and lightly stage your piece.
And here's a reminder of what the dresser looked like before. And this is what it looked like after.
And now what you've been waiting for, the numbers. So I bought this dresser for $28.50 from a local thrift store. I had about $30 worth of materials cost, such as my paint, sanding pads, filler, top coat. which put me all in at $58.50. I sold this piece for $450 on Facebook Marketplace, which gave me a profit of $391.50. Now, this dresser took me quite a while to do, so I had 9.5 hours in this piece, which gave me a profit of $41 per hour for my time, which isn't bad for a side hustle. Now, if you'd like to know how you can make more per hour of your time flipping furniture, check out this video where I show you how you can make over $125 an hour flipping a specific type of furniture.